A beautiful morning to you. You're welcome to Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Kingsley Manuel. Very happy to be here this morning. And of course, on today's edition of the show, Athletic Federation of Nigeria boss hails their sponsors, partners, coaches, and athlete. Djokovic eye more glory as 2025 season gets on the way. And in football, Pep Guardiola's City players to sleep at training ground. Pep Guardiola forces City players to sleep at training ground. These and many more will be yours after the short time out. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Steve Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network, and joining me on today's edition of the show is Emmanuel Michael. Michael, good morning to you and welcome to the show.
A beautiful morning to you, Kingsley, and happy, celebration, and good morning to our viewers out there.
All right, let's quickly move on now. So we'll take a look at the latest coming from sport down here in Nigeria. The Chairman National Sport Commission, Shehu Diko, has revealed that the commission has set in motion the process to establish Nigeria's first sport infrastructure development management board. Diko, in a television chat titled Reshaping Democracy, aired on NTA this week. It disclosed that the move to create the new board is as a result of the effort to revive the decaying state of sports infrastructure in Nigeria. He added that the creation of the planned board is targeted at refocusing Nigerian sports from so reliant on taking part in competition only to productivity level. Michael, what do you make of it? Shehu Diko really on his toes, trying to, of course, see how to develop sport, especially, the infrastructure we have in the country, sporting infrastructure we have in the country.
Yeah, I think for me, looking at his body language and his action speeches as well in different fora out there, he's made it very clear that sport development is one of the primary, key why he came on board, why he came into office to totally overhaul the sporting infrastructure in the country and also to give it a facelift that he truly desires. And for me, I think he has been talking tough in different areas, like I said earlier, and this is one of those epic statements that he has continued to make since he came into office. And for me, I think it's going to be a right move, a right direction, in the right step as well. If you can also back this up with, the action. It's not just coming to media to make all this, statement. It goes beyond that. If you take a look at some of the critical infrastructures that we have on ground in terms of sport, nothing. When I mean nothing to write home about, and that is the reason why it is only one stadium that we have that is being approved by CAF. That is to tell you the extent of the decay, of national sport infrastructures in the country that truly need or is begging for overhaul and rehabilitation. So for me, I think he must as well back up his statement with massive action. We've seen the budget for 2025. About you and I were just talking about the budget of 2025 yesterday right here in the building. About 90 point something billion naira appropriated for sport development in the coming years. So let's hope that it's going to maximize this humongous amount of money that have been also allotted to sport to ensure that at least all these talkings that he's talking every now and then come to fruition.
Let's see how it goes. Of course, we hope Shehu Diko, of course, will do the needful at the end of the day to make sure that, there is proper, growth of sport down here in Nigeria. Away from that, the president of the Athletic Federation of Nigeria, Chief Tinubu Kokowa, says all their sponsors, associates, partners, athletes, and officials, including the media, are their sports personality of the year 2024. Chief Kokowa gave this submission in a chat with newsmen while receiving the activities of the Federation in the last 12 months and also outlining their plans for 2025. Okowa, a former chairman of Delta State Sports Commission, also heaped praises on the government of Edo State that opened its doors to the athletic fraternity for the All Nigerian Athletics Championship 2024 National Trial Start Championship of Breaking Barriers. Okowa explained that over 90% of the 2024 events within and outside the shores of Nigeria were carried out to the later. Michael, what will you make of it? The Athletic Federation of Nigeria is one of the most outstanding sporting federation we have in the country. What is your assessment on the performance of Tinubu Kokowa and his men?
For me, I think in the range or within the scale of 10, I would score them 5. That is average for me. Take a look at the year 2024 in terms of athletics, achievement, prowess, what we've actually been able to bring to the table, the developmental stride in terms of athletes development and all of that. I think, like I said, I will score them 5 in the scale of 1 to 10. Then again, for Okowa himself, I think he's been doing pretty well since he assumed office. I think we've seen massive development in different areas. It's just that...
Has he really done well?
Of course.
I don't know, a little bit of an abysmal outing at the Olympic Games. Remember the case of Favor Philly,
yeah,
and the rest.
Yeah, despite some of those shortcomings that we suffered in the hand of, at the hand of the last Olympic game, there is no way you cannot also, take cognizance of their own effort as well. We know that it was a collective responsibility from those who were supposed to do the right thing at the last Olympic game, and they failed to do it. And that is why the name of Ofili was actually omitted, and some other shenanigans that actually transpired in the last Olympic game. So you cannot solely hinge it or blame it or lay it upon the desk of Okowa alone and say, oh, it's because of his negligence to duty.
He's the president, so if anything goes wrong, he should be held responsible.
Definitely, but we have categories. There are cadres. The bulk of the paper pass from one table to the other before you get to, submit the list to the Athletic Federation. International Athletic Federation rather. So there are processes that you need to pass. So Tony Okowa cannot just sit alone to draft the name and just pass it straight. It passes through some stages, and that is why some of the stages fail to play their own role, and it also bounces back to him as well.
His table should be the final table.
His table should be the final table, but then if others fail to do the needful, how could the names get to his own table? These are some of the issues that time may not even allow.
If he has sat down and, like I mentioned, his table should be the final table. After the maybe the list might have passed so many tables, his table should be the final table, and he's supposed to be the one, of course, to certify that particularly as okay, these are the athletes that will perform. So if he didn't see the name of Favor Ofili, then he would have, yes.
But it is very clear that from the panel of inquiry that was set up to pre into that abysmal or shambolic or shameful outing, it is very clear that he wasn't indicted. That is to tell you that there are categories. We talked about, was it Mushundi or whatever, the secretary, and there were only two people that was indicted courtesy of that dismal act and that embarrassing. His name was not included. That is to tell you that he has also played his own part. Like I told you, the bulk of the work passed from one table to another. And if you, being Mr. A, fail to do your own bidding, I, being Mr. B, it will also affect me. But then if you do your part, I fail to do my part. When the hammer comes, I'm going to exonerate myself, and that is what Okowa did. That is why even when the panel of inquiry was set up, to pray into the mistakes on what led to that grievous blunder, he wasn't indicted. That is to tell you that he did his part, but the rest failed to do their part, and that is why he was exonerated. And that is why I'm saying that he did pretty well for himself and for the Athletic Federation. But entirely, you may want to say, yeah, because of some of those lapses or setback we suffered at the last Olympic game, some person who did not actually know how these things work would totally blame him. But then from professionals that have been set up to look into and pray into the inquiry of that, actually exonerated him. That is to tell you that he's doing his own job.
All right, if that's the case, but I still feel that, Tinubu Okowa, no matter what it says, would have probably, maybe he did his part, but maybe the others didn't do theirs. But in whatever it is, being the head, whatever happens to the body, whatever happens to the tail, also has a way of affecting the head. That's what it means. So whichever way it is, we don't look forward to see how it goes come 2025 for the Athletic Federation of Nigeria. Tinubu Okowa, for me, I think he has a little work to do to make sure that athletics in Nigeria get to another height. Away from that, Novak Djokovic is confident he can still win Grand Slams, starting out the Australian Open with the Serbian kickstarting his bid for unprecedented 11th title and record 25th major crown in Brisbane later this week. Top-ranked Arina Sabalenka, who is gunning for a third Melbourne Park Trophy, joins him at the Queensland Tennis Centre from December 29 to January 5th in a stellar women's field. The 2025 season gets underway on Friday with the mixed teams United Cup in Perth and Sydney, headlined by world number 2 Iga Swiatek in the first tournament since revelations that she served a 1-month doping suspension. It is the first season since Djokovic began playing that none of the other so-called Big Four will be on the other side of the nets following retirement this year of Rafa Nadal and Andy Murray. Michael, what do you make of it? Novak Djokovic still very much optimistic of winning a Grand Slam come 2025.
Yeah, I think for me, he still has what it takes, despite the fact that he had a very bad or a very poor year per se. I still think that he has what it takes to also, push further come 2025 to also make sure that he also, cover that niche that he's been winning in it a record 25 Grand Slam. I think for me, if he takes time to rest and possibly do some massive training and work on himself and some of the lapses that couldn't, help him to also compete very well so far this season, and then again stay away from injury. I think Novak Djokovic he still have what it takes to also compete against some of the big names, the new big names in the world of tennis. Maybe talk about the likes of Yannick Sinner, Carlos Alcaraz, Danny Medvedev, Taylor Fritz, and Stefo. So I think he still has what it takes out there to actually pull the strings come 2025. And of course, you know the way he does his things. Most time when he wants to win or land a massive trophy for himself, he will be very selective. He try to select some of the games that he want to play just to make sure that he keep himself fit and keeping an eye of that target point, of that set goal that he want to achieve. So the goal right now for him is to win a record 25th Grand Slam. And I tell you, from his strategic move, he has what it takes to achieve that come 2025.
That's it. Goes for Novak Djokovic come 2025. We hope he get this one done at the end of for the day. Let's move on as to bring the latest coming from football at this minute. NFF Technical Director Osne Guavon has asked that a decision on the appointment of a head coach for the Super Eagles be taken soon because crucial 2026 World Cup qualifiers are fast approaching. He also added that he would prefer an indigenous coach to lead the Super Eagles of Nigeria. The NFF promised, but are yet to appoint a foreign coach for the national team since they announced that they would do so in June. Michael, Osne Guavon is insisting that the NFF gets a home-based coach for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. You think this would be a good decision?
Well, for me, I don't know whether it is a good decision for Osne Guavon or not, but he is entitled to his opinion. But if you take a look at the clamor from different quarters, I think if you ask, 10 Nigerians, 6 out of that 10 will go for a foreign coach because to them, they think that, the homegrown coaches are not doing enough. We saw how Finidi George, actually came. He saw, but he couldn't conquer. In fact, he ran out of the job. He resigned out of the job. Then, when Osne Guavon came on board to also continue in an interim basis, we saw he started in a very fine note. But so many Nigerians were praising him, because of the way he was able to, carve out a pattern of play, and we're like, oh, he is going to be the one that is going to tinker the Super Eagles to get us to the promised land. But after 1 or 2 positive performances, we saw the last 2 or 3 games that we played at the course of the African Cup of Nations Cup qualifier. It wasn't a good result at all, and he saw, many football followers, especially Nigerian Super Eagles fans, calling for the head of Osne Guavon, saying that he should resign, and the new technical advisor be brought in, and especially foreign expatriates. So for me, he is entitled to his opinion, but I think I would prefer a foreign tactician at this point in time because we are not in a very comfortable position in the World Cup qualifier. I know that the time might be too short, but then even if we fail to pick the World Cup ticket, we'll be rest assured that a foreign tactician that is going to come is going to have all of the time to be able to also galvanize the Super Eagles and get us
in 2 months.
That is what I'm saying. Not in 2 months. I'm saying that it is too short for the African Cup of Nations. I'm saying that we should jettison the idea of picking the World Cup ticket and give the foreign tactician time to build the Super Eagles for me. Because this fire brigade approach, just because we want to qualify for the World Cup, and you say, oh, let's go and bring Pep Guardiola, let's go and bring Jose Mourinho, let him come and do miracle or magic. It doesn't happen that way. That is why I'm saying the Nigerian Super Eagles, we should let go the idea of qualifying for the World Cup, but bring in a foreign expatriate that will be good enough, that will have all the time to think or galvanize the Super Eagles and get us in a proper shape that in the next World Cup, maybe in 2030 World Cup, we can be rest assured that we are going to pick the ticket.
All right, so let's see how it goes. Left for the NFF at this point in time to decide, are they going for a home-based coach or a foreign manager? That's what, of course, we'll wait to see in the coming days. Boxing Day fixtures, of course, will be upon us very soon, and Manchester City will be in action against Everton. Michael, what do you make of this one? Manchester City in action against Everton. Everton seems to be one side that have been a little bit stubborn. Can they compound the woes of Manchester City today?
Anything is possible in football. Everton, we know they are a very stubborn side. Sometimes they played against an informed Chelsea last weekend, but Chelsea failed to get all 3 points against a very hard and a very resilient Everton side. So the Toons are always a bone in the neck of some of the big teams to swallow. And looking at the form of Manchester City so far this season, it hasn't been an impressive one. Record 12 games played in all competition, winning just 1, drawing 2 and losing 9 out of those 12 games. Clearly tells you the blip in form or the nosedive of Pep Guardiola in the English Premier League so far this season. So Everton could be a hard nut, for Manchester City to crack. Even Joseph Pep Salah Guardiola made mention of that yesterday during his press match conference. He said that this is not a good time. This is not the right time to play a stubborn Everton. And he knows that indeed a lot is required of Manchester City. They must get all 3 points in this Boxing Day fixture. But I tell you, it promises to be a massive one. I can't wait, to watch that very one and see how Manchester City can be able to revive their hope or aspiration of competing for the title chase this season.
Bournemouth will lock arms against Crystal Palace. We'll see Chelsea against Fulham, Newcastle United against Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest against Tottenham Hotspur. We'll also see Southampton against West Ham United. Wolverhampton Wanderers will be in action against Manchester United. Liverpool against Leicester City. I'm also concerned about Manchester United against Wolves today, Michael. What do you make of it? The last game, they lost woefully to Bournemouth. This time playing away from home against Wolves. Would they be devoured today?
I think it's a very big question whether they will be devoured by Wolves. I think that question should be better answered on the pitch of play by the Red Armies and their boss, talking about Ruben Amorim, who for me has endured a very horrid start at Old Trafford. This wasn't the excitement that we saw from United faithfuls when he was actually appointed. We saw the high hope, high expectation, a lot of joy, from the faces of Manchester United fans, especially after beating Pep Guardiola in the UEFA Champions League 4-1, a comprehensive victory against one of the best coaches rather, in the world of football right now. They said, okay, if the man talking about Ruben Amorim can dismantle Pep Guardiola in the Champions League 4-1, then they think that they had a better coach that is coming to revive Manchester United. But he came. We have not really seen a replica of that, in what he did in Lisbon. So it promises to be another big battle for Manchester United this weekend. In this Boxing Day clash, but I expect them to get all 3 points because Wolves on their own side, they are not even in form. So, but it is football, anything at all can happen. But I expect Manchester United to get all 3 points today.
Let's see how it goes. Boxing Day fixtures. We hope that Manchester United will be up there, and Manchester City as well. We'll call it a wrap up at this point. We'll be back by 6 p.m. on the show on the Sport Extraordinary. Of course, we'll take a look at some of these fixtures tonight, as well as all the stories revolving around the beautiful world of sports. Stay locked here on Atlantic Television Network. Don't forget, peace and unity always the pathways to progress. My name is Kingsley Manuel. Thanks for watching.